All right, party people. Yeah. All right. What's up, y'all? Start of a new week. We here back again on the charts, about to break it down for you one time. All right. So, as you can see, we have a ton of lines. We're going to go ahead and everything is gone. Look, man, that's crazy, huh? So, in traditional fashion, we're going to go ahead and start with our Bitcoin analysis. So let's go super high timer. Let's go to the monthly and see what's going on. Let's check this out. So here we can see Bitcoin pushed up, came back down, pushed up a bit higher, broke lower, right? So then we could argue, where did that particular break of structure come from? And when I'm talking about break of structure, I'm talking about this one here, right? Because we have this high up here, we broke structure down here. So what do we want to go ahead and do? We want to say, well, that came from here. So what we would expect is something like this on the very high time frame, right? Oof, a little bit of lag there. So let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit more. All right. So again, we see this massive break of structure here, break. We see it coming from up here. So I definitely would want to refine it. I like that better. So if we are to be bullish and we are to come up, then we want to come and see it mitigate this zone first, play around in here like that, mitigate that before dropping off. Or it could go to all-time highs, but that's what I'm looking at now. So I'd like to see it retrace back up to here. So let's go ahead and go down. How about, we're on the weekly, let's go to 3-day. See what we're seeing here. So we're starting to see Bitcoin, yeah, and as you can see here, right, like this is a pretty good area where we'd want to see it come up to. This is the $44,000 to $47,000 level on Bitcoin. So we want to see it come up there. Now we're starting to see these bullish candles start to be put into place. And if you're looking at intermediary price structure or price action, we could see we had this large, push down. I think my mouse is about to die. All right. So anyways, what I was saying, we had this large push down. Hold on. Why is it? Yeah. Large push down. Then we had to come up here, but then we had to push down again. And now we're starting to see it come up. Now, I'd like to see the intermediary price structure or price action here. I want to see the lower time frames and see what it's doing. So let's go down to the daily and see what's going on here. All right. So we start to see price moving up, price breaking down. So here, if we were looking at this price action here, boom, right? And not to mention, again, as we've been saying this entire time, this really was the last push down. So if we are to see it come up higher here, we probably want to see on a shorter term time frame and mitigate that. Right, it will come up here before doing some type of pullback. We want to see something like that before ultimately going higher. That's what we want to see. All right. So anyways, we're looking at this intermediary price action here, and we're seeing, right, highs, intermediary highs, breaking intermediary highs, breaking highs, right, highs, right, and then finally we come and we see this low broken. You guys see that? Boom. Right, and then we see it broken again. Right, you see, bam, we see it broken here. Oh, right there. Then we see this range broken again, and now we're starting to see a break to the upside. So we're starting to see this range broken here. And again, this is just candlestick structure. Ultimately, we want to see it break down here because this range is pretty ugly. But if we were looking to get into some trades like degenerates that we are, then we definitely start looking at some of these other things. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and erase this. And I'm going to go ahead and put this here to see if we get any confirmation from here. If it should just so happen to pull back. So let's go down to the 4 hour and see what's going on there. Yeah, we just had a very heavy push up. So on the 4 hour, we'd be looking here. I'd be looking at something like that. MB1, MB2, right? Because this is the range. You can see that. And then we finally see another breakdown. Where it come from? It came from up here. Then we saw a break up. So again, as I said on the daily time frame, we're seeing something like this. And that's how I would see it. And so we could go ahead and refine our demand zone somewhere down into here. And it's tough because there's a lot of price action there, but I would probably use something like that. I would want to see it come into there. So I would want to see it do something in here, like up, break, and then it would fill all of this imbalance here. And then once we got here, we look for a confirmation to go long. So let's go ahead and jump down to a lower time frame and see what else we can see. Because we're starting to, let's look left. So we had this push down here, push up, push down, push up, right? Break. You can see it here. All right, so when this broke, where'd it come from? Over here. So something like that. Then we, of course, we had this price as well. Price action in this area. All right, that's the 23,183,000 to $23,582,000 level. And it's a pretty interesting range before you had a really huge drop off. So if I was a betting man, what I would say is pretty much broken structure over here. It's but we'd want to see it come in either here or here. And oof, this price action is just not looking kosher at all. So I would delete that because, well, I mean, it's up 3% already thus far since open. So we're just going to leave it like that. And this does not look good at all, right? So we could say this, could say this. And our last break was here. We could say this. And if we're going to continue to go higher, maybe we see some mitigation right there on the lower time frame, something like that. Now we're starting to see it break up even higher. But I think ultimately we might be getting exhausted because it's just been, for lack of better terms, just meandering in this little area over here. But ultimately, when you're looking at some of these assets or these financial instruments or financial products, you might want to ask yourself, is this even worth looking at right now? Because to be honest with you, it's not clean. It's pretty disgusting, and there's a lot of other financial products that we can go ahead and trade. So yeah, I'd say I'd wait for it to come down to here before I look for anything. I'm just going to put an alert there. Let's go. They say, let's go. LFG. How come I can't? Where's my alert? Oh, there it is at the top. It's crazy. Well, so I hope everyone had a great weekend, by the way. I know I did. We're going into a new week. Getting ready to be great. I hope everyone else is ready to be great too, because that's where it all starts, is greatness. So let's go to the 1 month and let's go to the euro. All right, like magic, we remove all the drawings. It's like magic. It's like magic, y'all. Yeah. All right, I don't mind me. I like magic. So as we can see on the monthly, we have a lot more data here on the euro. We've had, if we're looking at the larger term time frame structure, right, we're slightly, looks like we're bearish at this point. Bearish down to somewhere in here, probably down somewhere in the into there, before possibly going to all-time highs, depending on the state of Europe, right? So if I'm looking here, I'm looking left, I'm like, okay, well, where'd it come from? So we have this price action here. Let's go ahead and draw it out, right? Then we have a break finally. Then we have some type of break. We have a breakdown, and we continue up. So what I would say is we have this large move down, right? And we have a break here. And if I'm looking for some unmitigated zones here, I'd have to say somewhere in here. Definitely have to say somewhere in there. Oh, look it. My line came and tapped right into that zone. Dang. About to go to the moon, y'all. All right, so let's go ahead and go to the weekly. All right, and just remember, just getting this top down and understand what's going on. I'm really doing very high time frame, just so I can get myself oriented on the direction of the actual market itself. So right now, I'd say I'm bearish overall down to the zone. And so when I'm looking here, I mean, you just see it's just been coming down. And if I'm looking something like this, right? You could say something as far as candlestick structure there. We're ultimately seeing something, oh, this is not clean at all when you start really looking at it, right? We finally broke this. Boom, 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 and then it breaks. And then we can say, well, where did that come from? Where did this break come from? And it's pretty hard to tell on this time frame. Let's go down to the 3-day. Yeah, it's still pretty hard to tell, because I would say something like this. And then we had another break, right? Break structure. Where they come from here. And it finally breaks down. So then we have that. Right? We have this. And it broke down here. So we'd say, okay, where did that come from? It came from up here. Well, this last up move for the down move. Very small up move, but you can see mitigated the open there. But then we continue to have it breaking down, breaking down, breaking down. And actually, I like this area right here. Although you can kind of see some mitigation of the open there as well. But you just have these clusters, right? So you just keep having these. They try and come up and they just break, come up, breaks, come up, breaks. So we want to ultimately see something like this before we consider it short-term bullish, I'd say. Until we saw something like that. Ultimately, we're just looking for bearish price action. So theoretically, we'd say, okay, well, we want to see something like this. Unless that breaks there, right? So let's go down to the 1 daily. Let's go to the daily or 1 day. Looks like we're tapping into that now. But as you can see, now when we're zoomed in a bit more, we can see what price action has been doing. Price action looks like it's been kind of coming up right here we had a nice little break here, wick break. Then we had another break of structure right here. So we could say we want to be bullish to run these highs and ultimately come somewhere up here. So I like bullish more just because this has been getting hammered. We had one break of structure. But ultimately we're bearish, right? Overall. And we want to keep that in mind because that's our overall bias. But from my perspective, now that I'm looking at this, we got a 4-hour. Okay, this is a very, very large area and a very large move. So I'd say, yeah, I think we can go bullish here. So let's go ahead and draw this. We came up. Oof. We broke below there. Let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit. Boom. Okay, great. So, all right, came up, broke below here, and we finally broke up here. And then we can say, well, where did that come from? Well, we see a nice unmitigated, and this is a very large area, by the way, y'all. This is a super large area, y'all. So go down to the 1 hour. Let's refine this down. I'd say something like that. Last down move for the up move. We may be getting exhausted here, possibly. Because you see we're starting to hit this particular area here. Maybe we run this, right? We have a slight another push up and run these highs right here to liquidate those positions before pulling back to ultimately run higher before running lower. So if we're looking at the 1 hour, we're looking here for a zone, but again, we're just seeing structure just breaking intermediary, and then we see this large gap here. So I'd say something like this. But ultimately, I'd actually keep what I have right now because that would be great to run this area here, take out all this liquidity, and then go ahead and mitigate this zone before we're going higher. So I'm just going to go ahead and put an alert here. All right, we're going to go ahead and go with a demand zone. Demand zone there. Great. All right. And I think that's pretty much all I have on the euro. Let's go to NASDAQ. All right, what were we looking at in NASDAQ? Looks like we ended up breaking through here. I did end up taking a trade on Friday that I ended up taking an L. I tried to take a short in here, and yeah, it lost. Broke through. So we're going to go ahead and erase everything. Let's go to the 1 week. Let's go to the 1 month. And as you can see, the American economy just keeps going up, y'all. Up, up, up. Ugh. I hate doing that, right? Because I live in America, and I never hoped that this would happen. But as traders, we should be wary of all possible scenarios. So that's what I would say on the monthly. I'd still be bearish down to around 9,100 points or 9,191 points on the NASDAQ. Then we want to go ahead and drop down to the weekly, see what we're doing. Ultimately, we have this candlestick structure here. So boom, we have that. And then I'd say we refining here. We want to see it roll all the way back up here because it looks like it's starting to change structure, right? If you're looking at candlestick structure here, you see an MB here. If I can get this square, you see MB here, right? And then you see this break. So you see a nice, neat little break here. Boom. So then we'd say, okay, well, now where did that come from? Somewhere in here. Obviously, we're on the weekly, so this is pretty high or very, very high level. We want to zoom in here, but it looks like we're just tapping into the zone or trading this range. So I'd say let's go down to a 3-day and see what we got going on here. Yeah, I mean, you could see this, but now that we're zoomed in, you can see this mitigation of this open. So yeah, let's go down to the 1-day and see what else we see. All right. Yeah, so what I would do is I would refine it down to here. That looks like a pretty decent area to look for a trade from if we're looking very high time frame. See, we broke below here, as you can see, right? Let's go ahead and make it look nice, right? We did something like that, and we broke, and then we came back up and we broke this, and it came somewhere from in here. We're short-term bearish, so we could say boom, right? Whoops, because this was the break, came from here, and we pulled back a little bit, came up, pulled back, came up, pulled back. Now probably going to go to mitigate this before tapping into here before higher prices. All right, so let's go down to the 4-hour and check out what we got going on here. Yeah, I just see this all day. All day. Now, again, that's what we want to see happen. We want to see it come up into here and tap into this zone. Get it short from here for buying long. And let's just measure it out. Let's see how much mushroom we got on this stem. So we got there. We got a pretty nice chunk if we're looking to short there. We got a 1 to 7 there, which is much more than I usually shoot for. I usually go for 1 to 4. So that would be an excellent trade to look for, excellent setup. So it looks like we're starting to make some moves. Right, so if we're going to draw this out, down, up, right, breaking lows, breaking again, right, before we break all the way up here. You say, well, where did that come from? Well, we could argue that it came from here. And it's just been, again, when I say it's like a meandering, right? I'd say this looks like it's pretty ugly, if I'm being quite honest, but I definitely want to see something come from in here. It's just because this momentum is pretty heavy right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an alert there. And I'm going to delete that. I'm going to delete that so it's a bit more clean. And I'm going to delete all these lines. And so I'm going to go ahead and just wait on that. And it's a Monday, beginning of the week, right? Looks like we've had some bullishness coming into the beginning of the week. So it's looking like we're having some slight white call forming. We went ahead and ran these highs to start the week. Just we gapped up, right? And we came back down, filled this particular gap here, right? Filled that gap there. And then we came and broke higher again. But I think if I'm a betting man, we're probably going to get pretty exhausted to start the week, and maybe we start in a little bit of red. So went ahead and broke. And if I'm looking at this structure here, right, we have that. We broke up here. Where that come from? Came from, you could argue here. So we want to see a break and retest before going short. But again, this is really risky because we're doing it naked. There's no area that we're looking to sell from here. So I'd say this is a pretty risk if this does a break and retest. So if it does something like this, break, retest to come lower, right? That's just super scalping at that point, because if it broke here, then what I would say, I would consider this the last move, and then I would look for boom, and I look for something like that before ultimately going lower. But we're gonna go ahead and actually let's make this an alert, and let's make it a break of structure. Say BOS break of structure. Let's actually make sure. Let's play a sound here, and let's go to all my alerts real quick and make sure that they all have sound on them. Because you know you gotta have that. Dun, dun, dun. You know, you know. All right, great. I think we're just about there. We're gonna play that sound on every one of our trades, and I think now we're coming to the oil. Let's see what oil. Ooh, oh my goodness, oil in a zone. It is definitely in a zone. Looks like we're pushing up. Ooh, I mean, it's pretty bullish coming into the week. Pretty bullish oil. Yes, it is. I'm not going to do anything with oil this week. It looks like we're breaking bullish on gold on the 4-hour. That's fascinating. So I want to see a continuation here. So I'm going to put an alert and see what happens. Looks good. See if it comes back in there. Let's go ahead and make sure that we have that. There we go. Great. All right, y'all. Well, that is my outlook for the week, or rather for the day. Let's see if we get any of these alerts, and I'll be back with the trade review either later on today or tomorrow morning. So I hope everyone got something from this. You learned something. Maybe you got some tidbits. And if you have any questions, feel free to hit the comment section up, hit the like button, and subscribe to get all these sweet trade ideas for the day. And I hope everyone has a great day. Peace.